this week on Kiwi.
Kiwi FM
102.2 Auckland.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
Starting a new feature now on the Radio Wammo Breakfast with ex-breakfast producer here on Kiwi FM. Of course, you'll remember her. Her name is Kirsty Bond, and she now resides in Germany. We'll find out kind of what she's doing there, but we're calling the slot Bond in Deutschland. Kirsty Bond, come on in. Good morning.
Guten Morgen, Wammo. That would be one of the easier greetings to learn because it sounds pretty much like the English version.
This is true.
Good to be back.
Yeah, well,
again.
Lovely to have you back. And of course, it's not morning over there. It's starting to get quite late in the evening, I suppose.
Indeed, we're 12 hours apart here, so just opposites. 20:07 in the evening.
Now you've moved over there to set up a life, I suppose, in the short term. But you've decided to move at one of the worst possible climate change moments in the past 50 years or so. It's been one of the fiercest winters in the Northern Hemisphere. How have you been finding it?
I'm really not built for these temperatures, honestly. I'm longing for the sun on my skin, and it's just been permanently snowing, it seems, over here. So pretty much the ground is covered in snow and doesn't seem to be thawing. And it gets quite dangerous in some cities. In Berlin, they aren't allowed to use salt for some reason to get rid of the ice on the ground. And so hundreds of people have been pretty much just bailing on the ice and being carted off to hospital and have broken bones, etc., to deal with. So those are things that you have to deal with on this side of the hemisphere.
Yeah, but I mean, you're coping. Obviously, you are, coping to some extent. But you can't wait for this coldness to end.
Yeah, exactly. I'm longing for summer.
Yeah.
And also driving in the snow. That's kind of been a tough thing for me to conquer, but seem to be managing.
And what about culturally living there in Germany? How are you finding that?
Well, it's good actually. When I was first sort of planning to move here, I was told that Germans can be very serious, stern people who are very straight to the point, and they like things done by the book, and you have to obey the rules. And I have experienced that to some extent. If you do things that are slightly against the public laws, you'll know about it. Someone will tell you in public.
Have you been breaking the law, Kirsty Bond?
Well, I've been doing some major crimes over here, such as putting my feet up on the seats of trains and riding my bike in the wrong lane. Well, like they have certain tracks which you're supposed to stick to for bikes, and sometimes I may have crossed onto the footpath section, and I've been told about it.
Well, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, exactly. But there is another side to Germans, which is... not that typical seriousness which I had heard about. And I've found that they're really into celebrating festivals over here. So this includes like dressing up in crazy costumes and going a little bit zany on it. So that's something that's new to me.
Yeah.
And at the moment is actually Carnivale time of year, which is like a week celebration leading up to Lent, which is the Catholic tradition of fasting for 40 days. So this carnival season is basically like a last chance to sort of indulge and go a bit crazy and party for a while prior to having to be self-controlled.
So
the Germans are big on this.
And you attended one of these carnivals in the past couple of days.
Well, yeah, I attended a parade, which is it was just a minor one, really. It's not like the major ones which take place in Cologne and Dusseldorf. But, it was just a community affair with lots of people dressed up as clowns and witches and all sorts of things. But it wasn't exactly like an amazing parade or anything. It didn't strike me as like, wow. But I just like to be there and observing all these people. It's more of a people-watching experience and just seeing people getting their thrills out of this, and just thinking, how on earth would this translate into a New Zealand context?
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine Kiwis sort of doing something like this all over the country in different towns. I mean, what do we have? A Santa parade, which is mainly for children, but this is like adults and grandparents and children and everybody getting into it all at once.
I suppose the closest thing that we do have would be, as you say, the Santa parade, or recently the rugby sevens.
Yeah, the rugby sevens definitely springs to mind as an opportunity where people are actually willing to dress up, and I guess it's more focused on the drinking and the dressing up than the actual sport. But that's just one event that it's really just for whoever's in that city, although people do travel to it.
Yeah.
But it's not something that anyone in any town can partake in.
And just having seen some of the footage of the parades that you went to, there doesn't seem to be any kind of theme going on. Everyone seems to have got very random in the way that they are dressed up.
Yeah, randomness is probably the theme that they stick to, but it's just whatever crazy costume you can find, just put it on and go a bit mental. But it's not just a one day affair either. It's a week's events, and well, actually, I'll start from the beginning. On November the 11th, at 11 minutes past 11 in the morning, they declare Carnival season open, and they actually call it the 5th season in Germany. And this is when each town has a council of 11 men who are on the Carnival committee, and they get together and they declare Carnival open. But then for some reason it stops, and all the festivities are put on hold over Christmas and New Year's, and then it resumes again in the week leading up to Lent. And the first day of this is called Weiberfastnacht, which basically means Women's Carnival Day. And this is when it's like a role reversal type thing, and women can go around snipping off men's ties.
Oh, I was wondering what you were going to say there, but yes.
Where is your mind, Tomo?
Yeah.
So it's even to the point where Lufthansa, which is the national airline here, has to make an announcement for people flying into major carnival mania zones like Cologne and Dusseldorf and Bonn, warning businessmen who are probably wearing ties on their flights that this could potentially happen to them when they land, and that they should be on the lookout. Apparently a Japanese man actually got his tie snipped off as soon as he landed off the plane, and he was so shocked by this that he got straight on the plane back to Japan, the next plane he could find. So
well, fair enough. I tell you what, if I'd spend a bit of money on a new tie, I wouldn't be happy either.
Yeah, well, all men around German offices know that on that particular day they should make sure if they're going to wear a tie, it's an old one that they don't care about.
Yeah. So that's just one of the traditions, including these carnivals and parades. It sounds like a good time, really.
Well, it is, and people really do get into it, but I must say not everybody is into it. Like I mentioned to a few people that I had attended this parade, and they were like, oh, how embarrassing. So there are carnival fans, and then there are people who think it's all a bit too dicky.
Yeah. I suppose everyone in every culture has some kind of cringe about some area of society. Yeah. Oh, that's
exactly.
Most excellent. Well, I suppose you'd be heading into spring soon, although hopefully not too soon, because that would mean that our summer would be ending. So, but I hope
come on, you've had enough. It's time for you to hand.
Oh, well, over the next coming weeks and months, we look forward to catching up with you, Kirsty, around about this time every week on a regular basis to find out what's happening over there. And nice to see you again. We do miss you.
Oh, I miss you too. I really do.
Kirsty
I'd
Bond.
do anything to be there back in your studio with you right now.
Oh, well, yeah, it would be, because I can only ever do half or a third or even a quarter of of what you were able to achieve on this show. So,
oh, shucks.
Oh, gosh. Thanks very much, Kirsty Bonds. We'll see you next week.
Cool. Thank you. Bye.
It's